Hello everyone and welcome to the limited adhesion round 7 and 8 at Snetterton Circuit in the UK. I'm here with my American colleague and co-commentator Jaiden Burke. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you very much, Jordon. I'm very excited to see what we have in store today.
Nice, glad to hear. And it's a very foggy day to start off race 1 here at Snetterton, an iconic circuit, especially in British GT and many other touring car races around the fabled island of the UK. We're running the 300 circuit today, which is a rather challenging circuit running across the infield section of this circuit. Very little elevation change, with only bomb hole offering the only change of track. Here we can see the championship standings of Charles Rainford commanding the championship with almost double the points of Stephen Greening in second, David Lectillier, Dom Parker, James O'Reilly, Mecca Mussinger, Oliver Walker, Thomas Robin, Charles Landridge, Patrick Outrickley, Graham Bardsley, Tyr Millarn, Oliver Ettridge, Jaiden Burke, Shane Abbott, Sam Stott, Gary Richards, Nathan R.S. Parker, rounding out the top 18. And it surely has been a absolutely dominant performance from Charles Rainford, leading the top of this championship from lights to flag as we go down the rest of the list. Chris White, Gareth Winslade, Chris Forcer, Reese Creighton, Stephen Cakebread, Marin Hugavin, Kellen Mitchner, Adrian King, Jake Weaver, Ash Cooper, finishing out our standings from the previous 6 races. Sorry, Manuel Cruz, Wilbur Nett, Dylan Kirkpatrick, Gavin Kelly actually rounding out. Jason Weaver also rounding out, as long as Ben Arroyo. I'm sorry for butchering his name. He is at the bottom of the list to throw me off my track. But as we get ready to announce our championship standing, CCK Motorsport, following the lead of Charles Rainford, leading with 173 points over the 115 of Risky Racing Blue, followed by LSR, Lesser Tools Limited, Wizards of Lipton Coast, Woke Kings, Trick Racing, Risky Racing Orange, KRS, Arse Racing, Tink Pink Panthers, CC Racing, Premcal, Sleepy Time Racing, WWC, 317 Sim Racing, Sweaty Bees, and the Road Hunters, finishing out our 18-team grid. Bottom 5 teams, they're all trying to score their first point in the championship. How do you see that going?
Well, I see this track as being a very challenging one for everyone, so I think there's a good chance that one of those bottom 5 can be able to score their first points.
Absolutely, this track is going to be very on edge for the front wheel drive TCR cars. A lot of trail braking through many of these corners that can throw off the rear end of these cars. You can see quite a few people into the grass, but going to be quite a tense race as you see your practice results flashing up in front of you on screen right now. You see 22 drivers enjoying our race today. Qualifying results: Charles Rainford naturally taking a dominant P1, followed by Tyr Millarn, Patrick Outrickley, Thomas Robin, Michael Messenger, James O'Reilly, Shane Abbott, Charlie Landridge, Dom Parker, Stephen Greening, David Lectillier. Down much further than we would have expected him: Gareth Winslade, Oliver Walker, Sam Stott, Nathan Parker, Gary Richards, Oliver Ettridge, Chris Forrester, followed by Adrian King, Ben Arroyo, Jaiden Burke, Manuel Cruz, failing to set a time. But again, it's going to be a rather foggy day, as you guys can see on screen now. Visibility going to be limited, perhaps skill going to be limited as we run back over our grid. Charles Rainford starting up on that front right-hand side in the first row. That's going to be a very important position as we start up this race. Going down the grid, again, we have the CCK cars leading up front. Then the Risky Racing cars trying to make a charge, but Oliver Ettridge all the ways down in P17, really needing to make a climb for the rest of this race.
And then we do have Scott starting from the pit lane, so he will be released after everyone else is off the grid.
Yep, absolutely. Sam Stott receiving a penalty from the previous round, so he will be making that pit lane start. And joining up at the rear of the grid, which you could almost say it could be an advantage here, as we're going to have quite a chaotic race. I mean, we saw it last time I was here in Alton Park. Race going all the way to the end and lots of damage done to many cars, so perhaps he's going to have a clean race car at the end of lap 1 that half the grid might not.
I do think that visibility will play a massive factor in this. It's going to be really hard for everyone to judge where everyone is on the track in the first couple corners.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we have some of the tricky corners, the last corner of the infield section, the fast left that could easily send some of these cars around backwards. The curbs are very dangerous there, but we have the rest of our grid finally getting ready to go. The lights are getting ready, nice and warmed up. Those old halogen bulbs, of course, taking years to get started, but we are getting ready. The 4 red lights are on as we rev up the engines, get ready to launch, and it's green. Charles Rainford with a little bit of a slow start. Tyr Millaren coming out, as well as Patrick Autrickley looking for the inside and outside. And could we see a lead change by turn 1 here? It looks like we have Rainford is fallen back to second, and we have a car backwards as Addy King has gone backwards in the grass in turn 1.
Okay, and now we have them coming to the sharp hairpin, coming off the first corner. It's really hard to take an outside line here, so everyone's going to try to hug that curb as much as they can.
Yes, and it looks like Charles Rainford has taken back the lead from Patrick Autrickley, going down into turn 4 using all of that outside runoff area, as it looks like the majority of the cars have been rather clean, so Sam Stott not going to take an advantage from that pit lane start. It's only one car is out of this race. Nice and clean from the rest of the TCR boys. We head out of this infield section. We have one car going a little bit wide, heading into the fast left as we go into the second hairpin of the lap, getting ready to set ourselves up for the long straight after.
That long straight is going to be a key overtaking spot for all of these cars. It's really tight for the rest of the track, so I guarantee you can see a lot of moves coming up here.
Yes, and they see all the beautiful liveries of this grid flashing by in front of us. Hopefully many without any scratches by the end of this race, but for our excitement, maybe we want a few scuffs and bruises as we head into the Brundle and Nelson chicane, followed by a side-by-side move from one of the risky racing cars, I want to say. Coming into bomb hole now, it's going to be Charles Rainford, Patrick Autrickley, and Michael Messenger following up the top 3. Abbott, Parker, Millaren, Greening, Lectillier, Robin, I want to say Walker in the top 10. Again, quite a smooth first lap as we head onto the Senna straight for the first time. Steaming down toward Riches. These tires are still going to be cold as a few cars could get caught out here.
Indeed, there's actually not many incidents for this being such a tight and twisty track. So, it looks like here, we
have Tyr Millaren actually defending from Stephen Greening down in the bottom left there. You can see in the battle for third is going to be raging on as we have a few cars within 2 seconds, and it looks like Tyr Millaren is going to fall back, be victim of Stephen Greening down that hairpin. Probably just playing the long strategy game. Doesn't want to fight too hard too early, as we've seen quite a few of these races get spicy very early on. He doesn't want to mix in a little bit, but he's going to take a look back down into Agostini and push Greening a little bit wide. Tyr Millaren could get the better exit here as he's gone push Greening a little bit wide in the turn 5. Hamilton, King keeping it nice and tight, and Greening able to finally clear Millaren as they hit into the hairpin before the straight. As we have another car going off. Who was that? That was Patrick Autrickley, I believe, falling off track, and he's dropping positions. He's hemorrhaging them. Patrick Autrickley dropping all the ways down to P12, trying to recover onto the straight. As you can see how dense that fog and visibility is absolutely at a premium here, while all of these cars, and we have a 3-wide moment going into Brundle. Oh, so close as Shane Abbott is going to fall down into P5. Actually, sorry, Dom Parker is going to be the one falling down the order. Shane Abbott is going to be the biggest gainer out of that. Parker is dropped several positions as we head through into Murray's for the second time. Dom Parker running down into Murray's, getting the overtake around the outside of Burke. Head over to start our second lap of the first 20. Tellier's off again with another spin. What is going on with his race? What could be wrong with his car?
That looks like it almost got a massive pile up there going onto the center straight. The track may be a bit cold still and having issues with getting everything up to temp due to the... And
here goes Burke. Burke going off in the first corner, getting punted out wide by Outrickley, I believe that was. Or no, sorry, that looks like it was James O'Reilly with a little bit of the TCR contact. Might see a little bit of a revenge move coming back after that. We're going to have the the battle for 9th place be Patrick Outrickley, who is honestly fallen way off from grace as he was in P2 starting this race. Followed by James O'Reilly and Jaiden Burke, again trying to see if they can find anything. It looks like we're going to keep it nice and clean. Heading back down into Hamilton, Oliver Walker chasing down Oliver Walker being chased by Thomas Robin. As we head into turn 6, might be looking to get a little bit of a slipstream move going onto the Bentley straight. It's going to be a long run all the ways down into turn 8 there. I don't think Oliver has the horsepower to keep it in front. Oliver is going to get chased down. Robin taking and skewing off to the right-hand side, but remember this corner does turn left before it turns right, and you're going to have Robin does get the overlap, and he's going a little bit narrow, so we could have a little bit of a cutback here from Oliver, but he's going to file in behind. It's going to be quite a calm move from Robin as he starts charging up towards 5th place with Abbott. As we jump back to Lectellier, who has had a mar of a race, dropped several positions with 2 spins. He's just trying to recover some positions as we head into the long, never-ending right of Coram, heading into Murray's for the 3rd time as we are 6 minutes into this 20-minute race. It could be another draft battle, and he's got the run on Chris Forrester. I don't think Chris is going to be able to do anything here. He's going to be absolutely helpless heading to turn 1.
Indeed, as they go too wide, coming up on another car ahead. Both of them really tight next to each other. Have Forrester make some contact, but has to fall in right back behind.
Yes, and we have Forrester heading into the lead of this battle, still holding off Lectellier, who's certainly is going to wait until the end of this infield section and onto the Bentley straight. There's not many passing opportunities unless Forrester makes a mistake here, who, by the way, is a hard charger along with Jaiden Burke up 5 and 10 positions respectively as we jump over to Stephen Greening, who's now defending from, it looks like, Turmalarn, who has finally caught up to him. As hard as it is to see with this dense fog, it's even harder in that cockpit. And I'm sure Tur's going to be seeing a little bit of steam as he gets quite a strong exit onto the backstretch here. And we could have yet another sprint into Brundle with not much of a defense to be held. It looks like, just you look through the fog here underneath the bridge, that Malarin is going to opt to not go for a battle here, perhaps even trying to push Greening up into Messenger to see if he can get a little bit of a 2-for-1.
Indeed, it was ridiculous looking at that straight and seeing how you could only see the headlights. I can't imagine how it feels like to be one of the drivers here.
Of course, and then Tur is trying to pull the nose of this front-wheel drive, front-engine car through the long turn of Coram, and he's going to be struggling as he finally brings it to Brundle and gets quite a strong run, I must say, behind Steven, but I believe he's going to be sitting behind. He's going to be quite content with this move, as he finally juts out with a little bit of a move to the right, going into turn 1. Malarin is going to hold that inside line quite tight and file Greening out. They still are going into turn 2, but we have to jump back to James O'Reilly. He's going to be going for a move on Dom Parker. Gets a nice clean move, a little bit of a slide job into turn 1 as he starts to move on towards Patrick Outrickley.
And now we're back on board with Chris Forrester and Gareth Winslow, with Winslow getting a bit sideways through turn 1. It looks like they're still struggling to get everything up to temp here. It's surprised how slidey everything's being.
Yes, and it looks like Tur, while off camera, was able to complete that move fully on Stephen Greening. No surprise there, as Greening was going to be filed out on the outside of that last hairpin, but Greening's going to be right up the rear wing of Tur, coming into Hamilton, moving into Augie's, and then finally the final Williams corners. We have a little bit of a tap, letting Tur know he's there. There's no foul play there, but Tur is going to be needs to be watching in his rear view mirror as Greening is ready to fight, and he wants this position. Remember, this is the final podium position as we reach about the halfway point of our race. Gonna be looking through again that dense fog, absolutely blinding, and it's a pain for any visibility as Shane Abbott has now decided to start creeping in. All three of these cars are within 1 second of each other. Steven is gonna have to be watching both where his headlights are shining, but in his mirror, because he's got the headlights of Abbott right there. Tur might be able to stretch a little bit of a lead here. We head to the exact halfway point of the race. There's a little bit of dirt getting thrown up as we head once again into Murray's onto the long straight. Looks like McLaren may not have the run to pull this away from Stephen Greening. Michael Messenger just leading the pack just in front of them. McLaren's going to have the eyes of a hunter there. Steven is going to be hunting him down. Shane Abbott has started to fall back a little bit. They could have a bit of a battle that is a full race-long battle that's going to be brewing between those. We're going to be jumping back to Charlie Lanebridge, and I believe he's fighting Oliver Walker as we see a nice little side-by-side move into turn one here. Oliver with a little bit of contact, drifting a little wide, but they're going to still have an overlap heading into the hairpin here. Charlie is gonna be get filed out with the long hairpin. Oliver just placing his car dead in front of him. Thomas Robin looking to get involved as we're gonna have three cars battling for T10, the last of the F1 points paying positions. Of course, we have a few more points here, but this infield section could get a little bit spicy as Charles Landridge and Thomas Robin are gonna be heading into turn four. Landridge is going to block him off. Is going to give Walker a chance to run away. He doesn't need to battle anyone. Robin might decide to stay patient here, and he's trying to fill up the mirrors of Landridge, telling him, hey, you can't go for Walker. You need to look at me. Is he going to be filed out to the outside of turn six? Three cars and a space for two as we move back onto the backstretch for the sixth time. A battle still heavily brewing between Oliver Walker, who's starting to stretch his legs, as now David Lectillier has started to creep back in, and he's going to be able to put up his nose into this fight as well. Charlie Landridge is not going to have to defend here, it doesn't look like, but he doesn't have much time because now Thomas Robin has the fire lit under his rear, as David Lectillier certainly is going to be pushing him, and Robin is trying to recover from that 8th position drop that he has had since the start of this race.
Indeed, let me see Walker go wide through part of it, having to go too wide through Bomb, and now they're going. And
as we head over into Murray's, it looks like Charles Landridge is going to get into the corner first, but Oliver Walker with that inside line is going to file him out. Now we have 4 cars in the space for 2. We're going to have a little bit of a crash going on as that Walker's getting shoved wide by Charlie Landridge, and we still have it's a counterclockwise rotation of these cars. 4 cars still filling up the space for 2 as they file into one at a line astern, one at a time. As who we lost? Was that Walker? No, it was Lectillier who was turned out in the exit of turn 1, possibly by Walker with a little bit of rude contact. I'm sure the stewards are absolutely going to be looking at that. Landridge finally getting in front of this train, possibly going to be able to stretch his legs. Robin's certainly going to have an answer for that. He's been chasing down this pack, gaining ever so slightly every lap. He's certainly going to want to try to get back into this top 10.
Indeed he is. And after that little incident, we now see Langridge, Robin, and Walker have now spread out a little bit. There might be enough time for them to group back up and have another 3-car battle.
Yes, as we see Gary Richards with quite a destroyed car trying to hold off Nathan Parker, and I think his attempt is going to be futile, but nonetheless, that 4 car, that bright pink, the only car that we can see on track going up another position, as Gary is certainly going to be doing a little bit of damage control here. Just a refresher, your top 10 at about the 3/4 mark of the race is going to be Rainford, Messenger, Milaren, Abbott, Greening, Outrickley, O'Reilly, Parker, Burke, and Langridge. As now we jump into the final positions outside of the top 10 as we have Robin still chasing down Charlie Langridge. It looks like one of the closest battles we have here on track, heading through turn 11 of Corum, going back again once more into Murray's. Looks like Robin has a bit more grip going through the long corners, but Robin's just been getting, Langridge has just been getting better exits and stretching that gap a little bit. Perhaps it looks like a headlight out for Robin, so possibly some damage that could be costing him some maneuverability throughout this track, as that gap seems to be stretching, and perhaps Langridge is finally going to be safe and able to start moving up towards Burke. We move back the field again to Richards, who still has quite a damaged car, trying to come back at Parker. That Oreo car, quite a treat, but could this move be the treat of the day? Around the outside of turn 1, heading into the hairpin, surely Richards is going to get filed out. Maybe going deep on the brakes, we see Nathan Parker get slowed down, parking it on the apex. Richards looking for a little bit of a cutback, but doesn't quite have the exit as Parker's going to start running away into turn 3.
I'm impressed that Richards is able to put up this fight with that car. The front end looks absolutely mangled, and he's still able to keep the same pace as Parker right now, who actually runs off the track.
Yes, Parker, quite the healthy car. Richards really looks like he only has the splitter left of that car, and that looks to be true. As you can see clean into the engine bay, you can see exactly what's running in that thing, but Nathan is trying to run away, and he can't break that toe. As we jump up to your battle for the podium, it's going to be Milaren, Shane Abbott, and Stephen Greening, all covered by a 2.5 as the iRacing Hyundai is going to be blending into that deep, dense fog. Perhaps a little bit of camouflage as Milaren leads this train into the final 4 minutes. This battle is certainly going to start heating up. Remember that there is going to be a reverse grid here, so these positions, while important in race 1, aren't the end of the world. We jump back into Gareth Winslade and Oliver Ettridge battling over 14th, heading over into Bomb Hole. As we get the run into turn 11, Ettridge appears to have a little bit of a run, but this is the long corner that requires a lot of throttle control, a lot of patience. It's very easy to get on power too early and just drift the car out a little bit wide. Unsure if Ettridge is trying to push too hard here, as we were mentioning that this race isn't the end of the world. There is still a second to come, so keeping that car in one piece and in the top group is very important. As Winslade starts to stretch that gap, we're going to jump back into our podium battle. It looks like that camouflage of Shane Abbott's working out, as he's going to be going down the inside of turn 4 to get a little bit of a side-by-side action and start the run towards turn 5 of Hamilton. Milaren gets a little bit of a better run, and it's going to be Abbott left in the dust. It looks like we're going to be bringing it closer back. Abbott's going to be reeling Milaren in as we get nice and tight deep on the brakes. Milaren's losing a little bit of time corner by corner, and this is only playing into the hands of Charles Rainford, who's been stretching this gap lap by lap, certainly setting the fastest laps of the race, and there's no one to be seen. And that's not just because of the fog, that's just because Rainford has absolutely had a stormer of a day, dropping a large cloud on top of everyone else as the weather has done to this track. Completely dominant lead by the TCR CCK racing driver. We're going to see that 023 head into Murray's for one of the final times. He takes the run onto the center straight, bringing the car across the line. Certainly trying to extend his lead that final bit more. We see head into turn 1. We're on watching how smooth Rainford is, keeping this car together. No more than necessary inputs. He's braking deep and late into that turn 2 hairpin, parking the car on the apex, square off that corner, and accelerate deep into turn 3. Palmer, this corner deceptively long as you need to roll the car through. Be very, very patient on throttle, as we can see Rainford, a master of that patience, and bringing the car into a commanding speed. Turn 4 of Agostini, as we have to jump back into the podium battle, as Shane Abbott is going to be hit by Milaren heading into Turn 3, Abbott trying to get side by side to take that final podium position, and he's going to be shoved off. Millarn does not want to give up this position. It's going to be a dive down the inside. Millarn giving him the space, but he knows he's going to get a better exit. Abbott's going to have to settle to file back in line down into Hamilton, looking like Millarn is going to be Hamilton getting defended, he's going to be an Alonso to Abbott's Hamilton, defending like hungry in the most recent F1 season, and it's going to be a tight battle. Greening getting up close onto the rear wing of Abbott, but he's not going to be getting the same level of draft as Abbott is going to be getting, as Millarn doesn't have a run. He has no one to pull him along. He's defending the inside as we head over to turn 8, going under the bridge as it's deep and dark, musty weather. Nothing that you can see, but it's looking like Abbott is going to get tight into the inside. Greening possibly for an over-under move, but it's not going to work out as we head into bomb hole. The final lap is going to be coming around. This is the final lap. Rainford getting ready to cross the line as the checkered flag is waving. Abbott is going to fail to get that P3 position as Millarn is going to possibly get the run out of here. Rainford bringing home the first win of Snetterton in a very weather-trashed race. Quite a calm one as we go through Rainford, Messenger, Millarn, Abbott, Greening, Outrickley, O'Reilly, Parker, Burke, and Langridge filling out your top 10. The hard charger of that group being Burke, up 12 positions from the start of the race into a nice P9 finish. We're going to close out the rest of our positions with Robin, Walker, Winslade, possibly Forresters. We see a few more of these cars coming in. Yes, Forrester going to be taking that P14. Ettrich in 15th as we look down for Sam Stott. The rest of the grid, here we are, Stott finishing up in 16th. Richards failing to get that 17th position as it looks like he's entering the pit lane. Possibly a penalty at the end of the race there for Richards that he needs to clear, but unsure as we're going to be closing out quite a clean TCR race, especially considering the weather conditions, I have to say.
Indeed it was. There wasn't many incidents that we saw. There was a couple people still going off, losing the rear end of the car, but that's honestly, in TCR terms, this is a very clean race.
Absolutely, as there was no fire or flames, not even between the drivers, not many sparks aside from possibly Millarn and Abbott, as they had that bump on the final lap there of turn 3, as it looked like Millarn kind of mugged Abbott. So again, we go back down the order. This is your finishing order. It looks like Richards falling from 18th to 20th. Manuel Cruz, David Lectillier filling in those vacant spots as Nathan Parker and Ben Arroyo is going to be finishing out our grid 4 laps down. Unfortunate race for him, but only 3 cars finishing off the lead lap, so quite a competitive field, but Charles Rainford just absolutely dominating this first race. Going to be rolling over into race 2, hopefully a little bit more visibility as we come through the rest of the race. And there's that dense fog that we were seeing. It's hard to see that car of Rainford, as it looks like we're going to be jumping into a much cleaner weather conditions for the second race. It's going to be race 2, and it's going to be about the same temperature, but it's going to be 36 degrees C. It's going to be a sweltering race. It's going to be an absolute test of smoothness here, as it's going to be very, very easy to burn out those front tires in these warm conditions. But no fog, clean, sunny day. It looks like not a cloud in the sky, so hopefully that's going to prevent from damping on the spirits of any of these drivers. We go back into the second race. The top 6 positions this week have been inverted. So Patrick Outrickley is going to be taking the pole position, followed by Stephen Greening. Shane Abbott taking 3rd place, followed by Tyr Millarn of row 2. Row 3 filled by Michael Messenger and Charles Rainford, then going down to O'Reilly, lane 4. Gareth Winslade's going to be filling 13th, followed by Forrester, then Ettridge and Stott, King and Cruz going to be filling 17th and 18th. Gary Richards and Parker filling 20th. Lectilier filling and Oyo finishing out 21st and 20th. As we see the cars gridded, they look a lot warmer as we see a singular cloud in the sky, much different than the cloud that was hovering over the track in the previous race. We hear the engines fire up and the lights are on as we get the res ready to go, and we get launched and set, and it looks like a clean start from the top group of the grid. One car going a little bit wide, going with the Ricardo line from Melbourne. Careful of that because you could damage your splitters. It looks like Greening possibly stealing the position from Altrically into turn 1. A little bit of contact in the grid, but it looks like all the cars make it through just fine. A little bit of dirt kicked up in the back. Greening with a monster start in that Audi, quite known for the start with its transmission and clutch system. Altrically having to settle for that P2. And what I have to say is, as we talked about, the bastard child in that Civic is doing well to hold it up into second. Yes, we are just starting this race as we make the first run down into turn 4. It's going to be quite a clean dive as Abbott decides to back out of turn 4, but he's going to get a good run in going into Hamilton. The kink in this battle for turn 2 the battle for P2 could already be going, as Greening's going to be starting to stretch his legs. He doesn't have to look in his mirrors. He's just got to keep eyes ahead. Altrically already under pressure as you can see a 2-wide moment going through turn 6. Turn 7 surely going to be the same as we prepare the cars for the run to turn to Bentley straight. Heading down the bundle is such a clear sight. All these cars yet again now shining in the sunlight. Much better than the rain that was shining on track as we get ready for the cars to run through. Greening leading the pack once again as we look at his McLaren already taking the P3 position away from Abbott, and it's going to be McLaren going wide again just off as he takes the corner a little bit too deep, heading through bomb hole, possibly a 3-wide moment. Michael Messenger falling victim, and Abbott too of Charles Rainford. Dominant performance. Greening starting to lead for the first time into Murray's onto the Senna straight as the gap between these top two is tight, but Rainford's lap times are going to be even tighter up to this top of the timing sheet as we see a car going a little bit wide. Looks like it was Forrester going off, dropping a few positions, but I think Greening and Altrically need to be aware of Rainford. He's right behind them. They know his pace, and they need to work together to keep that gap between them as we see a little 2-wide moment going through turn 1. Jaiden Burke surely getting filed out of turn 1 as he's going to be getting possibly a cut back into the hairpin. Yes, close. Bish Bash Racing going into turn 3. Dom Parker leading a train with Shane Abbott. Abbott going down, and Dom Parker's getting turned. Can he pull it out? Pedal to the floor? No, and Parker's going to be going around. Looks like he's going to be dropping down to... What is that? I'm sorry, no, it was Abbott possibly getting turned around, and Burke gets the C's pushed wide out of him. It looks like it was Abbott collecting O'Reilly. A lot more chaos than we saw last race.
Indeed, I guess the low visibility was actually helping the drivers be a bit less aggressive and be more aware.
Yes, absolutely. Open your eyes, children, please, because now you can see the rain is gone. You can see clearly now as we see Oliver Walker chasing down Burke. Burke already up 3 positions from his P9 start. Robin even more so in P5, up 6 positions. Turmalaren, though, starting to chase down the risky racing boy of Oliver Ettridge. It doesn't look like he's going to get the run, but that Lesser Tools Limited is certainly going to have plenty of tools. Malaren, we know his pace, and he's going to use everything in that toolbox to try to get in front of these cars. As we look, as a few cars are going through the left, right, but it looks like Addy King and Stott are going to be going off. Abbott and Parker even off as well. There's 4 cars wide, and it's going into the 4th dimension as the benefactor of that is going to be Lectilier, Richards, and Winslade, filling out a few positions that they surely weren't there on pace for. Jumping into Oliver Ettridge, taking this fight with Turmalaren. Malaren having to run all the ways into turn 1, and the risk is certainly high on the outside of this corner, and it's the risky racing boy leading into the corner as Ettridge is going a little bit deep. and it's going to be Millarn with the cutback as we head into turn 2. Surely the preferred line. Deep on the brakes, we're about even as Millarn's a little bit deep. Ettridge has to give him the space and compromise his exit as that position, that P8, is going to be going to Millarn, who's on the hard charge to recover his race. And as we follow through Millarn, this battle isn't over. Ettridge is going to be trying to charge back down. He's certainly going to be taking all of the risks that can be seen as the CCK Motorsport car of Charles Rainford has already taken and picked off Patrick Autrickley, and it's going to be Stephen Greening, the only one left to stop this dominant reign, this Darth Vader-esque and Emperor Palpatine regime that is just completely inconsolable by anyone on this grid. Rainford deep in the draft, and surely this is what it's going to be. Greening is helpless in the straight line as Rainford faking to the outside. Greening covers and he takes the inside of the left-right of Brundle and Nelson. It's going to be look like Greening's going to shove Rainford off, and Rainford's not having any of it. Hey, now, I'm here. You need to give me space. He's going to push him, give a little bit of nudge. He could have sent him to the grass there, but he decided to back off. Rainford still having some work to do. Autrickley trying to get his nose in, but now it's going to be Messenger who's going to be the absolute aggressor of this train. He's got all the momentum going into Murray's for the third time. 5 or 6 minutes into this race, and there is still everything to be played for. Autrickley trying to hang on into turn 1 here as it's going to be Messenger trying to bring the car in a little bit tighter. He's not going to be close enough to turn 1, possibly turn 2, but I think he's going to have to settle in behind Autrickley for the infield section. As we fall back to Oliver Walker, it's going to be chasing down Tyr Millarn and Charles Langridge, the 2 team cars, as CCK Motorsport looking to try to bring in a good result behind Charles Rainford. James O'Reilly getting overtaken by, I believe it's that Cruz, but he goes off track, I think, off in the distance. He completely disappeared from our vision. Visibility even worse than that fog that we had last race as Rainford is going for a deep dive into turn 4. Late move, a little bit of a tap, and that surely's got to be retribution for that tap that Greening gave him earlier trying to shove him off track. As we're going to have Autrickley even benefit and take P2. Rainford surely going to run away with this, but the battle for P2 is surely spicing up as we jump into turn 6 of Augie's. Autrickley being chased by Greening, followed by Messenger, Robin, Langridge, Millarn, Walker, Ettridge, and Lectelier. Again, the hard charger up 11 positions in this race. He is the one to watch for any kind of battle. And it's Rainford trying to break that draft. He knows what's coming for him. If Autrickley can get back up, it's only going to be a punt. There's no other way about it. These TCRs, they're built to take some damages. We see the Risky Racing boys too wide into Nelson, and it's going to be Michael Messenger leading the way. Greening dropping back once again. It looks like the hard chargers leading the field as Robin is taking a look inside a bomb hole. But again, this is the smooth corner of Coram. You need to keep very smooth on your throttle. It's very easy to understeer wide and bleed a little bit of speed here. Michael Messenger having a beautiful view through that rear wing as he runs through Murray's. And it's going to be Robin. Does he have the run? He's up that rear wing of Greening. And it's going to be some risky stuff as the risky racing formation is possibly going to be broken. We're too wide into turn 1. Could we see a decisive move? As we're still on with Michael Messenger trying to make the run up, but in the background there, that's where we have our side-by-side action. But no, the move's not going to stick as we move back to David Lectelier going into turn 2 around the outside of Oliver Ettridge in 1, but he's not going to make the move stick. He's looking for the inside move, a little bit of contact. Ettridge planting that car in the apex. He's not going to make this easy for Lectelier, but he knows he has the pace in him. Lectelier up again, 11 positions, ready to put the foot down. And that Risky Racing car is surely at high risk of getting sent off track.
Indeed, it looks like he's going to have to wait until the straight, though, because the overtaking through these next couple corners is going to be really tough as he tries to push the Risky Racing car out wide, and they're going to go too wide through Hamilton.
Yes, and Hamilton of a one-line corner, and it looks like it is going to be respected by Lectelier. He knows that's not a safe place to make a move, only asking for an accident. Gareth Winslade surely being the benefactor of this entire battle as he's being pulled right into these two cars. Ettridge with a little bit deep on exit, and this is surely going to be it. Ettridge doesn't have the pace, and he's going to be swallowed up by Lectillier. It's only going to be Brundle that he can defend into because it's going to be the inside given to Lectillier. Well, if he doesn't file him out, he's going to be backing out Lectillier up yet another position. Ettridge now having to look into his mirrors. It's going to be Winslade getting ready for a move. Lectillier blocking the inside through bomb hole, but he knows he can need to hold that inside of Corum. The long right. Ettridge is not going to have a move here as long as Lectillier holds that inside, and surely Winslade is going to be licking his lips. There's a nice steak dinner on the table for him and a nice top 10, a nice point scoring opportunities. He sets up the exit. Lectillier leading this train, coming through onto the center straight, and here we are. This is what we were talking about. Gareth Winslade with the run. We have all three different manufacturers here fighting for 3 positions as Winslade and that Civic is not going to have the run into turn 1. He files back into line. He's going to surely be just trying to use the grip of that Civic to pull himself closer to the Audi as Ettridge has been hemorrhaging some positions here. Going to be into turn 2. He's a little bit deep. Winslade sticking his nose up, and he's going to take that position. That's going to be a costly mistake from Ettridge, but are we going to see the battle back coming through turn 3? Winslade going deep into the corner. We have to jump up to Tourmaline, as we have Oliver Walker getting ready to take the fight in here, giving him a little bit of a flash. Hey, now I want this position. Could you please give it to me? But of course, Maloran's going to say no, as we only have 9 minutes left in this race. Hamilton, the next to go as we move into Augies and Williams. Following that, Maloran stretching his legs a little bit as it's going to be the 2 Hyundais trying to make the run. This looks like this is going to be their battle as the gap to the front is quite far. Shane Abbott and the Oreo cards of Gary Richards battling for that P13 position as we see behind O'Reilly also looking to pick up the scraps, and even further ahead Stott just only a second or 2 ahead of this pair or even this trio. Think back to our first race where we had the marriage of the TCRs. Well, certainly it's going to be Richards and Stott, I believe, going in. They have their, Abbott, that are going to be married going into this left-right complex of Brundle and Nelson. Bomb hole to follow. Richards looking a little bit weak on exit, but it doesn't look like Abbott has an end inside of Corum. Oh, and he has to shut the door as Corum is all about that inside line. Richards not letting Abbott get through there as we file through Murray. A little bit of contact. Richards needs to be careful. He can't overslow because Abbott's going to take every opportunity he can to slow him down. Stott looking quite a bit slow up front. And again, we have O'Reilly filing up the rear of this 4-car train as we have to jump back to Outrickley, who's been bringing the battle back to Charles Rainford. Rainford's been unable to drop him. Remember that dominant win that Rainford had, but it's not so dominant now. It looks like Outrickley has some pace. This could be a scintillating last 7 minutes of the race as Outrickley surely is playing a strategic game here and waiting for the last moment. He knows that Rainford's going to be a tough battle, and he likely won't be able to pull away from him, so certainly he's got to be playing the long game, ready to take this battle on the last lap.
Indeed, and he's been following Rafe this entire time. He knows where he's faster than him, and he knows where Rainford's faster than him. So this is going to come down to the wire on picking the right move.
Absolutely, and he's only going to have one chance to do it. And if he gives Rainford enough time to bring it back, like think of a 4th quarter comeback in the NFL, well, he can't allow that to happen. Charles Rainford, he needs to leave him helpless coming through these final laps, as it's going to be lap 8 of 10 that we're heading on to, and certainly Rainford's going to be leading the end of this one as one more time we head through the Little Dipper of Bomb Hole. Outrickley dropping back a little bit, but certainly he's going to get pulled back by the draft through Corum in the center straight, bringing it, holding that Civic tight to the inside corner, looking like he has quite a bit of pace through Murray's the left-hand flick. It looks like you're going to have an off-track moment from Rainford, who's got to be pushing everything out of that car, certainly losing a little bit of time to Outrickley there. And we're taking a look as these beautiful cars running through Murray's couple bits of pack racing as we see the risky racing cars filing through that last corner once again. And it's going to be Stott, Richards, O'Reilly, Abbott following through next. And it looks like O'Reilly is taking the position from Abbott, who's been unable to battle. But Richards has caught up to Stott. Possibly a move into the first corner as he is gaining that go to sleep sign on the back of the Stott's car, surely telling Richards to pack it up and go home. Rest in bed, and Richards getting a poor exit out of turn 1. O'Reilly's going to be making the sleeper move into turn 2, and Stott holding up this train, surely causing a little bit of chaos as we move to the left-hander of turn 3. Richards surely still in this battle as O'Reilly's going to be taking that outside line. He's going to be heading to the second left as possibly is O'Reilly going to go for the cutback. No, he's going to file back in to line as they're going to be making that charge back up the Stott. Richards having the pace. He knows he can get here. He needs to just sort out O'Reilly, who's going to be taken around the outside of Abbott. A daring move. Surely it's not going to work out as O'Reilly gets that push out of the exit of the corner. As we move through Hamilton, the close-up camera view, you can see just how tight these cars are. Stott having a world of harassment behind him. Surely he's going to make a domestic disturbance call with how much Richards has been up his rear and all the chaos that has been followed by O'Reilly and Abbott. As he makes a good run, he's stretching his legs out onto the Bentley straight. And he's surely going to be safe heading into Brundle and Nelson, but who isn't safe going into that complex is going to be O'Reilly, followed up by Abbott. Surely with the frustration of dropping 12 positions, he's going to move up to the inside of Brundle, try to get O'Reilly a little bit wide, maybe a cutback through Nelson, but no, and it's going to be Stott a little bit wide, and it's going to be Gary going up the inside of Bomb Hole. It's moved through Forum, but we have to go back to the battle for P3 as it's Messenger and Outrickley surely looking for a possible battle as Outrickley is it's going to be Messenger and Robin, my mistake, as Robin's going to be going a little bit wide, surely losing a little bit of time, and he's going to be taking the next couple laps to bring himself back in, but no, it's Messenger a little bit deep into that corner. Robin going to be bringing it back into turn 3, possibly going to be getting a little bit of move as he's going to be trying to pull that car back in through turn 4, a little bit wide on entry for Messenger as we see the risky racing battle between Gareth Winslade and Oliver Ettridge. A little bit better of an exit from Ettridge as they're going to be filed line astern yet again. Winslade trying to find some sort of move. Ettridge just trying to hold on to his position, and we have to jump back to Michael Messenger and Robin as we move in yet again. Messenger been losing time this entire race to the cars behind, and Robin surely looking to take advantage of it. He's up 7 positions, looking to make an 8th for that lucky number 3 to finish out those podium spots as we move on to the Bentley straight once more. And it's going to be Michael Messenger left as a sitting duck on this straight, but I don't think the gap is small enough for Robin as we're going to be getting ready to possibly move on to the final lap. They are running out of time here, and it's going to be Messenger leading through with a slow exit through Nelson, and it's going to be Robin looking on the inside of Bomb Hole, but he knows it isn't there. Just needs to file in and get close and behind in Coram. Gareth Winslade looking for a move on the inside of Brundle, but it's not going to be there. Coming back through a little bit of a clip of the curd from Ettridge that could compromise his exit, but it doesn't look like Winslade's going to be able to take advantage of it. Another 2 wide from Sam Stott looking to recover the position from Gary Richards. Stott a little bit deep, and it's going to surely be a better exit from Richards. Going to be the inside, the double right now of Bomb Hole followed by Coram, but Stott's able to get ahead as Richard has a poor exit. It's going to be followed up by O'Reilly and Abbott, surely looking to be the hyenas of the pack, looking to pick up the scraps. And we're back in Michael Messenger, and he's got the battle. It's going to be Robin on his inside. Surely Robin going to have the preferred line into turn 2 here. The inside Messenger going deep, going way wide, looking for a possible cutback, and they're heading to turn 3 of Palmer, but it surely looks like that overlap is going to be gone. Robin filing himself back in. Messenger giving him a little bit of flash. Certainly he's not too happy with that, as now he's going to be having to worry about a battle with his teammate of Greening. Following up turn 4, there's not going to be enough of a gap to go for a dive on Robin. Robin's certainly holding a strong position as we now see Greening looking to pick up that P4. Maybe a little bit of team-on-team violence, blue-on-blue, friendly fire. As the Risky Racing Blue Boys are getting rather close to each other, the gap spreads out a little bit on the exit of turn 4 there, going into 5, and it's going to be heading onto the Williams straight for the final time. The battle has been raging here at the front, and here's Altrickley's chance. Rainford's weaving side by side, trying to give himself any advantage he can. The TCR is going to be kicking off, and is someone going to get kicked off track? Patrick Altrickley looking at the inside of Brundle. He's going to be trying to bring it up close, a little bit of throttle. He's going to be going down the inside of Nelson, but no, he's not going to get it. And an exit, poor exit. Rainford Shirley with only 3 more corners to navigate, make that 2 of Bomb Hole is now passed, and all he has to do is the long straight of Coram and Murray's. Patrick Altrickley has run out of time, and unless a mistake here comes from Rainford, we're going to be out of time as the clock strikes 20, and it's going to be a late dive in the Murrays, but it's not going to work out. Altrickley with a very desperate move, and surely it's going to be Rainford with a close, hard-fought win, but yet another double from the CCK driver. Patrick Altrickley able to bring it back on track as he brings home a 2nd place. Robin holding on to the 3rd with a 4-5 of the Risky Racing Boys of Michael Messenger and Greening. Landridge bringing home that P6. Malarin in a 7th. Then we have Walker, the other CCK, in 8th. Lectillier with a strong recovery drive in 9th. Ettrich following up that last position, that last top 10 position. And Winslade bringing home a P11 as he was not able to capitalize on that final top 10 position. Stott followed by Richards, Abbott, and it looks like a little bit of a crash by O'Reilly over the line. Win it or bin it, it must say, but he's going to be closing in to the final couple positions. Oh boy, and Cruz finishing up in 16th with Forrester, the last car in the distance here, as we have a couple more cars coming over the line, just trying to finish up the race. But oh, I'm out of breath. As it looked like we had 3 really tight battles going on there, much more exciting than that first race, I have to say.
Indeed, this last lap was amazing with battles all over the track, and I will admit, I thought Altrickley was going to get Rainford there in that final corner. Thought there was going to be a little bit of contact.
Absolutely, it was quite a late dive. I might be a little lightheaded, but Altrickley, unfortunately, a little light on the brakes there as he goes wide in the Murrays. As you take a look at this grid, the chaos, the controlled chaos that is the TCRs, and this beautiful shot of all of the grid filing through. Charles Rainford, CCK Motorsports, leading what looks like another strong win with that 3-second gap, but once again it wasn't decided until the final corner. Another tight another second race win from Rainford. He's got the double. Patrick Altrickley in 2nd and Robin in 3rd. Once again, Michael Messenger, Stephen Greening filling out 1-2 of the Risky Racing Blue Boys, Charlene Gridge and Sherman Lauren, followed by Walker, Lectillier, Ettridge filling out the top 10. Then we have Winslade just missing out on that final position in P11, but certainly a position he was fighting for, not that it was out of touch. But he looked at the championship standings. Rainford up at 167 points, followed by Greening pulling out that gap to 89 points, pulling away from Michael Messenger, who's up 3 positions at 78. Right, the fall of Lectillier. Altrickley up 5 positions with 69. Nice, I must say. Robin in 6th, Parker 7th, Riley 8th, Walker and Langridge 9th and 10th, Malaran, Bardsley, Ettridge, Burke, Abbott, Stott, Richards, and Gareth Winslade up into P18 after climbing 2 positions. Of course, Nathan Parker dropping down as a victim of Winslade's climb. Forrester climbing up another position as White falls. The Chris have traded positions as Reese Creighton, Stephen Cakebread, Marin Hoogovan, Callan Mitchner, Adrian King, Jason Weaver, Ash Cooper, Manuel Cruz, Will Burnett, Dylan Kirkpatrick, Gavin Kelly, Jason Weaver, and Ben Arroyo, filling out the 34 drivers that have jumped into this season of TCR. And what a season it has been. 4 races deep, and it looks like it's going to be quite a strong battle for those podium positions for everyone else, as Rainford leads the charge for the CCK Motorsports, leading at 227 points, followed by Risky Racing Blue and LSR, Lesser Tools Limited, who didn't have the tools to make a hard climb here, Trick Racing, followed by Wizards of Lifting Coast, Woke Kings and Risky Racing Orange, Ars Racing and QRS filling out that top 10. CC Racing, Team Pink Panthers trading positions there in 11th and 12th. Prem Cow, Sleepy Time Racing, WWC, 317 Sim Racing, and 2 more fill out that grid. But what an amazing second race that was. We have been the Limited Adhesion Round 4 Snetterton race, and we hope to see you in the next time. Please follow our socials, subscribe to YouTube, and we will see you in the next one.